I'm here to talk to Trevor and Amber about their dad, who I've known for over 20 years. He's a great guy, someone that I love very much, and I hope that as you guys get older, you come to appreciate what a great guy your dad was. He was very strong-willed, very opinionated. He was full of emotion. I'm sure you guys saw some of that as you were children, but the thing that always impressed me about Kevin was he had the biggest heart for people. You could go anywhere, all over the country, and you would meet people who Kevin knew. Kevin had an interaction with at some point, and just was a fabulous human being. And you know, as I stand here today talking to people who have known him forever, everybody has a Kevin story. Everybody has something that makes them feel special about their relationship with Kevin, and that's special to me because he just had an impact on everybody and was able to make every single person in his life feel like they had a special moment with him. So as you guys get older, he'll always be part of your lives. Your personalities have a bit of him in them, and you should make sure that you take the good parts of your dad, his personality, his loving heart, his openness, his honesty, and his enthusiasm for life, which was just massive. He just loved living life, and he left us too early, but he'll always be in our hearts, as you guys will as well. So love you guys, and anything you ever need, just let me know.
Hey, Amber and Trevor. I'm Bob Dufour. I used to work with your dad, and you're going to hear a lot of stories about your dad. Some of them how crazy he was, some of them how fantastic he was at his job. One thing that I know about your dad is he had a heart of gold, and I worked with him. I have a lot of stories about him, and he was also a very good friend. What I like to tell you is he talked about you all the time, and he was very, very proud of both of you, and you were his life. So I want you to know that. And all the other stories about how crazy your dad was, they're all true, but nothing more important than he loved you more than anything else in the world. So I just wanted you to know that.
Well, Cousin Kevin, I'm gonna try not to get too emotional. I didn't get to say our last goodbyes because of stupid COVID. But Amber, Trevor, you know I'm the cousin from California, and your dad moved out a long time ago to California, and we all had bets that he wouldn't stay, but he did, so some of us lost our bets on that. I have very many memories of Kevin, your father, coming to visit us in California, trips to Mexico, taken Kathleen and Kevin to the Orange County Fair to see Donnie and Marie Osmond. I mean, we had so many fun times with your father. He had a big personality like me. And one fun memory that comes to mind is us in Mexico. And we went to Papas and Beers and Who Songs and with all the family. And Kevin and I took off, of course, to go to one of the bars, and we drank and had fun, and they were doing belly shots on the girls, and we had a blast. Kevin making friends with everybody as usual. And on our way back in the border, online, a very long line to come back to California, I got out of the car to go shop, and your father was hanging out of the car, and all of a sudden we hear this loud cry from the back, "Hey, Jersey!" I go, there wasn't anywhere that your father went that he didn't make friends. And that's one of my funnest memories that I can recall. But we had very many. I can't tell them all to you guys at this young age, but he loved you both. I will miss your father, and I'm his first cousin. And I love you, cousin, and we all miss you. And see you up there.
We met Kevin, your dad or your son or whoever Kevin is to you, years ago in the University of Scranton. He lived in a house called 1220. He was a lot of fun. He was Big Daddy to many of us in terms of his attitude and his presence in the room. He was always center of the room. If Kevin was there, you knew it. He was connected to so many people, and that connection continued through college and post-college, where when I'd meet with Kevin on the professional side, I was so impressed with what he was able to do and how he actually understood so many different things. And I've always appreciated the connections that he helped me make on the business side, which helped my family and my Scranton friend who I went on to marry, my wife Janine.
And I will say I met Kevin at 1220, as did Peter, and my recollections are that he's a very real guy. However he felt, you knew it. It's refreshing to meet people like that, so you don't have to guess. But I do recall that when we first got together, Kevin was one of the first people who noted that, and I remember him walking up to both of us saying, "Pete and Janine, that's so cool." So he was the first person to bless our relationship, which is now, this is 31 years later. So.
Right. So we got the Big Daddy nod, which was always a good thing and a positive thing, and has worked out very well for in our life. And I'll never forget Kevin. He'll be part of my mind and my soul and my heart forever. So he was a great guy.
Hey, Amber and Trevor. It's Kurt here. Kind of a crazy day, and I hope you'll watch this more than once in your life. Your dad was an amazing friend of mine, and, it started out pretty funny. I had a hard time thinking what I would say today, but I dated Angie, a childhood friend of your dad's, and she said, "You've got to meet my friend Kevin. You two are so alike, and you will be friends for the rest of your life." And the first day I met him, your dad had just broken up with a college girlfriend and closed Big Daddies, and he cried into his scotch. And I made fun of him, and I said, "Why would I ever want to be friends with this guy?" A week later, the guy I worked for said to me, "Hey, do you know this guy, Kevin Kroll? He applied for a job here." And I go, "Greatest guy you'll ever meet. He ran his own business." I'm like, "He'll be amazing." Your dad and I worked together for 6 months, and we became such amazing friends. It's indescribable. And probably about a year and a half later, I broke up with that girlfriend who introduced us. I broke up with Angie, and Kevin said, "Kurt," he goes, "you're going to be my friend the rest of my life." He's like, "That's the greatest gift Angie ever gave us, is introducing us." And I made fun of him for crying, and, I've seen his sensitivity 1,000 times since. But I just want you to know your dad was an amazing man. I mean, just the most generous, wonderful, loving, and a big softie, because he would cry. And, that made him a good man, too. I don't know, how else to describe it. I got 1,000 stories I could tell you, but he was just an amazing man and a big crier. All right. I hope you look at this 30, 40, 50 years from now and laugh. I love you both, and I love your mom, and that's all I got. It's kind of crazy. All right, bye now.
Trevor, Amber. Knew your dad from Scranton. One of my best friends. My daughter's godfather. I've met you guys plenty of times when you were in Pennsylvania. Painted your house down in Chester Springs. Came out to visit you with my oldest, Callan, for a week out in California. Trevor, we went out on the boat, you drove it. You guys are very lucky. Bad luck, but very lucky to have Kevin as your father. I'm sure I'm not alone with the tears coming down, but just a couple of things if I can pass on to you. One of the things we wanted to do was to drive cross country when we graduated. Problem is I graduated on time and he didn't. So it's when he got to getting the restaurant experience and things went on from there. So it's probably one of our biggest regrets. I know from time to time, stories abound. I'm not sure what everyone else said, but I just want to tell you, you're in Pennsylvania, you're on the East Coast. You ever need anything, please feel free to look us up.
Everybody, I'm Steve Walsh. Good friend was Kevin Kroll. I loved him, as many people here at the celebration do and did. Danielle, Amber, Trevor, so sorry for your loss, but we're here to celebrate, and that's what he wanted, always. Such great attitude on life. He loved you all, loved his whole family, loved his friends, loved to be in the mix and cutting his own path. He was so genuine and sometimes pretty harsh on people, but that's what made him the way he was, and being a genuine person and calling you out if you needed it. And I was his roommate, I was his friend, I loved him. He was one of a kind. And I'm hoping that you cut your own paths and take your own direction and do what he did. You know, live your life and be happy, and know that he loved you incredibly, as he loved everybody. Thank you. Hope to see you soon in the future. If you ever need anything, always call me. I'll be there for you if he isn't. Okay? Love you all.
Hi, Trevor. Hi, Amber. So I'm Heather. I grew up with your dad. I've known your dad since we were 8 years old. I made it 2 seconds. It's hard to talk about. So first to you, Trev. Your dad. Let's see, my brother threw your dad off my doghouse because he got him mad when he yelled at me when I was 9 years old in my house. Your dad and I got in a lot of trouble in elementary school, and we always had fun laughing. There is truly not a moment in my life where he was not part of it. You guys are the perfect representation of him. Trevor, I know you don't remember this, but you came down my house down the shore. I live at the beach, and you guys came down, and Amber, you were really, really little, and Mom and Dad came, and we all went to the beach, and I would sit there and watch you, and Kevin and I would talk about the two of you, because we were little to watching our own kids play together was quite the journey, and everything in between. And he was such an amazing person, and he loved the two of you more than words can say. And he will be very, very missed. But I guess some of my favorite Kevin stories, you know, your grandma used to love to, get in everybody's lives, right, including Daddy's. And my first memory of him was walking down the hall in elementary school, and he was skinny as a rail, and he had this long neck and this big head, and he was dressed in, Grandma used to dress him in these things called garanimals, which were a matching shirt and pants, which were like the most embarrassing thing in the world for a kid of his age to wear. And he wore them because Grandma dressed him in them all the time, and he never argued. And we all ripped on him all the time. For years he heard about that. And then we went to high school, and Dad was one of those people that would have a whole scheme going on, and in a minute in high school he had a business running. He had friends from all over the place. We used to go up and go skiing all the time in my parents' place, and we hung out constantly. And if there was one thing with your dad that was always true, within seconds he'd have the room on its feet laughing, and there was fun that just radiated out of him. So I am sure the two of you are going to grow up and be the same way, because it's in your DNA, and there is no way that won't happen. And then once when I was at college, I was running around, and Dad just got in the car to come surprise me, and he was sitting at my dining room table for almost 40 minutes before I realized he was there. And he just videoed watching me run around and almost look at him, because I didn't expect him to be there. And that's the kind of stuff he would do. He was just spontaneous, and he did everything big, including you two. So I hope someday when you get older, you come find me, and we will all sit when you're of age, and we'll have a beer together, and we will talk about Dad, because I will never, ever, ever, ever not have a minute where he is not on my mind. Love you too.
Hi, I'm Kristen Nako. I'm another ocular melanoma patient, and I've known Kevin for about 5 years. And I remember first meeting him at the Hard Rock Cafe in Philly, and we were both kind of surprised that we both had ocular melanoma. Of course, he bought the meals for everybody that evening. And then we continued our friendship for his many visits to Philadelphia and, online through Facebook. And I just want to say that Kevin is definitely a larger than life guy in so many ways. And just all his frequent updates really impacted me to live my life the best that I can now. So I hope everyone does what Kevin has done and showed us, is to live every day eventfully, because, you know, we are having fun right now.
We met freshman year of high school, and we became best friends, and I'm proud and honored to be able to call him my best friend. He's always been a very caring, wonderful person. He's got the biggest heart of any person I've ever met. The things that I remember about him are just how much he cared about his friends, and he would give anything up for any of his friends. But the most important thing to him always was his children. And when they came along, his world changed and his whole focus changed, and he was always so proud of them and wanted nothing more than to see them be happy and successful in life. And you know, he gave his all for his kids, and you know, we're going to miss him terribly. I know you guys are going to miss him even more. But he's left an impact on all of our lives, and we're all here to let you know how special he was to all of us.
Hi, Amber and Trevor. My name is Angie, and I've been friends with your father since high school. I'm going to try not to get emotional because I loved him very much. Such a great guy, so funny. We had so many good times together. I was just speaking to your mother and telling her a story about how your dad's a hero. There was an incident when we were in high school that there was someone who had stolen a car, and the police were chasing him, and the car, I believe, crashed, and the policeman got out on foot and was chasing the guy, but the policeman was so out of shape he couldn't catch him. And somehow your dad was at the site of this, and he ran and chased the criminal and tackled him down, and the police were able to catch the criminal because your dad. So not only is your dad Big Daddy, funny, wonderful guy, he also was a hero that day. We're all going to miss him very much, and I wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope that you're able to remember your father for all of the fun times that you had with him.
Hi, Trevor. Hi, Amber. I'm Tracy Roth. I was Van Brie when I was growing up with your dad, and he named me Bun, so you might hear that at some time. That was my nickname growing up, and that was definitely your father's doing. And I couldn't understand how he could call me Bun, because he had a bun. And if you don't know what a bun is, it's a really sharp part with your hair slicked over. And I had a younger brother who had a bun, and so he thought that was quite funny. But I don't want to tell too many stories. I'm afraid I'll get upset, but I just thought it was important that you know what a wonderful man he was, and he touched so many lives, and you'd be really, really proud. Thanks.
Hi guys, I just wanted to say it was good to meet you today, and I had known about you guys for a long time because your dad did nothing but brag about what wonderful kids you were. And I want to let Trevor know I will always be your Taylor Ham connection. You just let me know, kid, and it is on its way west. Your dad will always be with you. He'll be in your heart, and he will never, ever, ever walk away from you. He'll always be right behind you. So when you feel that presence, just know that that's your dad. They're loving you. Love you guys. Bye.
To Trevor, Amber, I hope I don't lose track of you. I hope you don't need to know who this is, but it's Fong. And this is what I'm going to tell you about your dad. Your dad and I had our ups and our downs. We both held our own ground. We didn't always see things eye to eye, but we were great friends. And I think the life lesson there for you two is take some time to know somebody before you figure out who they are. You don't want to cut somebody loose that you may regret later on down the road. I love your dad, I love your mom, and I love you.
Kevin was a dear friend and a family friend with the entire family. He spent a lot of his life with us, and he participated in my children's as my children were growing up. You guys were a little bit younger than my children at the time, as Kevin got married a little bit after us. but he participated in every child event that my children had. I had the opportunity also to know Kevin and know him well and know the biggest heart that you could ever find in anybody else. There was any number of times and any number of stories, and you can call me or talk to me anytime you want, and I will tell you additional stories about how good he was to everybody that he knew and that he had opportunity to be involved with. One of the things I just wanted to say was that I loved Kevin. I loved Kevin with my whole heart, and you guys should know how much the appreciation you should have for an individual you could have as a friendship, that you could also have the love that you have with your same family. I love you guys. Be good. Be well.
Trevor and Amber, I knew your dad starting in 5th grade. So the other 3 women here knew him much younger, but I had the pleasure of starting to know him in 5th grade when I moved to Cedar Grove for the rest of my years going through high school. So wonderful, just welcoming guy. Absolutely adore your dad, and I miss him terribly.
I have to say the same. You know, I've seen you. We've swum together in the pool. It was great to know you. And your father was 1 in a million. I can't tell you enough about him. You had a gold star there.
I've known your dad since they moved to North End, and your dad lived 5 houses down from me. Amber, I've never had the opportunity before today to meet you, but I've seen you grow up on Facebook. And Trevor, we went to Orlando with my daughter, and we had an amazing time, and you guys went to the arcade and in the pool, on the slide down in my Marriott Orlando. And your dad was an amazing person, and I will never forget him, and neither should you.
Trevor and Amber, I've known your dad since grammar school, and he was just one of those most fantastic people that everybody loved. He was charismatic, and just
Sure
everybody drew to
He
him.
was.
He
Yes.
lived life.
Magnetic personality.
Yeah, he lived life to live it, and each and every day, and even up until his last day, and he loved you more than anything in this world. Both of you, I never got the opportunity to meet either one of you, but both of you were the most important things to him in this world.
100%.
He was
Absolutely.
an amazing father, and please don't ever forget him, but he was loved by everyone, so.
Yes.
He was the mayor.
He
Of
sure
Cedar
was.
Grove. He sure was. He
Yep.
wasn't legally, but let me tell you, he knew everybody.
He knew everybody on every coast.
And he was loved by all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, he was an amazing man.
Amber, Trevor, hopefully I'm a lot younger looking than the rest of the people that have been recording videos for you. It's odd how I became close with your dad, Kevin. My older brother and Kevin were very close friends and since they were kids, and I'm younger than them, obviously. We were friends on Facebook, and Kev would always refer to me as the most liberal dickhead he knows. So what ended up happening is we would end up bickering on Facebook and then bickering on Facebook Messenger. Hopefully that still exists and you know what that means by the time you're listening to this. And then he would just say, f that Dilly, just call me, will you? And we would talk for 2 or 3 hours on the phone. And I am probably the most liberal dickhead he knew. But I'm also incredibly reasonable. And one of the most recurring themes that came up from Kevin was that he cared so much about people. And he was so obsessed with making sure that you two were okay. It was everything to him. He talked to me about what you guys were going through in your lives, and it was everything to him. And I want you to know that you were the center of his universe. But he also cared so much just about people. And yeah, he was probably a real conservative dickhead from what I would say, but in those bickering, arguing things, we would always end up landing in the middle. And of course, in that conversation, we'd finish up by saying all right, well, now that we figured that out, I guess I'll talk to you soon. And as soon as we were signing off, I would say, I can still forget, Kevin. He'd be like, what's that? I'd be like, Black Lives Matter. And I would hang up the phone and just light him on fire a little bit. But I miss talking to him, and it's only been a few months. I miss talking to him because he forced me to know why I believed what I believed. And it was important, because if you just go through things unchallenged, you're just in an echo chamber. And he was someone, his challenges were never just some opinion or regurgitated piece of information. It's because of something he felt, something he believed. He cares so deeply about stuff. But you two were the center of everything for him. And I'm thankful that I got to have this new independent relationship with him, where in the last year or so, sometimes I felt almost like I was his priest, because he would talk to me about stuff regarding the cancer and regarding you guys that was very personal. And I was honored, and I was lucky to be in that position. If I'm still on Facebook and if it still exists, look me up someday and I'll talk to you a little bit about your dad. Just know that he loved you guys like crazy. All right? Thank you.
Hi, Kev. We've spent a beautiful day remembering you, talking with family and friends. I miss you dearly, and I thank you for being an amazing brother and saving me and protecting me from many different things as we grew up. Going to the amusement park together, going on the family cruise. Thank you for saving me from the roller coaster at Disney World when it tried to run me over. I love you very, very much, and I miss you every day. You have a lot of people here that love you, and they want to do the special video for your wife and your children so that they have all the stories of your life, and we will always be there the best we can for all of them, because you have a lot of people that have loved you for many, many years. I will never forget you. You are always in my heart.
I've been in Kevin's life for 29 years as the adopted sister, and I never had a big brother until I had you. And I knew that Kevin would always be there for me no matter what. So, that means the world to me. So,
And Trish will always be here for me, so you don't have to worry.
Trevor, Amber, we are all from Cedar Grove. We all grew up with your dad. We loved him more than words could possibly say. And we wanted to all come together so that you knew how much he was loved from the minute we met him. And when he looked like a dork, when he was skinny, with the bun hair and all that stuff.
Driving his RX-7.
Yes.
Drinking wine coolers.
Wearing the Garanimals.
It's a problem. Exactly.
And even when he turned into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yes.
And too.
We love him too.
Despite all of that. So we just wanted to tell you how much, and someday you will all come to visit us, and then we'll tell you the truth about your father.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Love you, Kevin.
Amen.
Love you.